What is good, everybody, and welcome back to Warframe, the Beginner's Guide. This is my second part of the series. Thank you so much for the support on part 1. It was awesome to see how many of you left positive comments and feedback on it, and I've decided to continue the series as a result. A few things I forgot to mention in the last video, which is linked on screen now. If you haven't seen part 1, I encourage you watch it. Before this, I built this out very sequentially. One of the things I did not mention is that platinum can be earned in-game. As you can see here, credits and platinum. The credits in-game currency, platinum, you can use real-world money to get it, or later in the game, once you've joined a clan, you can trade with other players to earn platinum in-game. Pretty much a lot of the items, not all of them, but a lot of the items in the game can be traded with other players, and you can trade these items usually for platinum. In fact, there's an entire chat channel devoted to it. If I press T here and I go, I think it's this channel right here. Yeah, trading. These are all people, you'll see here, this guy's looking to want to trade Cyclone Kraken 25 platinum. And a lot of times people will trade things like mods, they'll trade cosmetic goodies, they'll trade Captura scenes, like tons and tons of stuff. Even like blueprints for frames and weapons can be traded with platinum. And so let's say you farm a bunch of mods and you get a bunch of extras of rare mods you don't need. You can trade with other players to earn that platinum in-game. That's something I didn't stress enough in the last video. And so I just wanted to put that up the forefront. You really can play this game for a boatload of time without ever putting any money into it, which is, I gotta give Digital Extremes a lot of respect for allowing you to trade with the actual like in-game currency that uses real money, you know, just by playing their game. That's a pretty cool deal. So today we're talking about the Codex, farming your first frame, what you should be doing in terms of raising your MR, and the weapons that I think you want to be working towards. Basically what your first 30 hours of Warframe is going to look like. Over here is the Codex. After a couple of missions, you will get the parts needed to put the Codex in here. The Codex is the hub for quest lines. It's got a ton of information on the different Warframes, the different like enemies, and it's a really cool space where you can read up on all sorts of lore regarding the game. But the big reason I want to bring you here and spend some time in the Codex, guys, it's actually a really, really cool space within the game. The main reason I want to bring you here is for the quest tab. Quests are storylines within Warframe that will unlock as you progress further on the star chart. Sometimes you will need to come to the Codex to activate the very first quest step in the quest line, and other times you won't. The game will do a great job of presenting all of this to you. This is one area it actually doesn't really fall short in terms of new player communication, so you don't really have to worry too much about coming to the Codex to activate these. Sometimes you will. I'm not going to scroll down with fear of like spoiling quest names and maybe some of the flavor images associated with it. As you progress in Warframe, and as you get further and further along in the star chart, more and more icons will appear up here in the upper right-hand corner. The two I want to highlight is the Quest tab. These are where you can click on your current quest lines that are going, and it'll basically set you up with the particular mission you need to progress that quest further, or tell you what you need to do next. So I need to activate the Pluto solar rail by completing the Pluto junction in order for me to progress the quest line for the Sedna quest. You'll see these as you progress yourself. This tab I didn't talk about last time. These are alerts. Alerts are timed missions that have rewards associated with them. They're randomized. Sometimes on the weekend, Digital Extremes will put some really, really sweet rewards with them, so keep an eye out these on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And oftentimes it's a really good way to do it. I mean, this is, 15,000 credits for completing it on top of the normal credits you would do for just playing that mission. They're really worthwhile. So begin completing them when you have the opportunity to do so. If you watched the first video, I told you to complete all of the blue nodes on Earth and to progress to Venus. The Venus junction, it's very easy to suffice or whatever, meet all the criteria to complete the Venus junction. So that should be a no-brainer. Getting to Venus, very, very easy, and I'm not going to spoil any of that content for you. But once you've gotten to Venus and you've cleared out the board, one of the last missions that you're going to encounter is the boss mission. Most planets have a boss, and pretty much these bosses usually have Warframe blueprints associated with them. As it turns out, the boss of Venus, the Jackal, has the Rhino Warframe blueprints. So we're going to be farming this boss to try and get the blueprints of the Rhino Warframe to build it. And I'm going to start that up right now. You can solo it, or you can just group up with other players. I find it a lot easier to group up with other players, especially with bosses. However, it can be there can definitely be a sense of accomplishment by doing it solo. So I'm going to walk you through this particular mission. If you don't want any spoilers, of course, just go through this mission node, and when it completes, you can jump to the time code that I place on the screen. So, if you guys didn't know, the tile sets in Warframe are randomized. It's kind of like procedurally generated in the way like a Diablo would. Even though this mission is always going to occur with this kind of corpus texture set, the route of getting to the boss is going to be different. On these boss missions, all your focus should be on is getting to the boss. Save your ammunition, save all that stuff. The bosses in Warframe have particular mechanics associated with them, and some are going to be tougher than others. Just like in most games, the earlier bosses are easier than the later bosses, but I will show you all about the Jackal here. I'm using the MK1 Bratton, the assault rifle I told you guys to pick up in episode 1, and I'll also use the MK bow, which is the staff that I have here. So here is the Jackal. We will probably skip the cutscene. Oh, I guess we have to wait for these guys to get here. The Jackal boss is fairly simple. Just like a walker in Destiny, you want to shoot one of his legs till he drops to the floor, and then you're going to shoot his head. Essentially, my frame just looks, it's got a bunch of visual stuff on it. It should look fairly similar to what you guys are using. Or, I mean, gear-wise, it'll be pretty much the same. So I'm going to shoot his right leg, and I'm going to get knocked down. Essentially, if you can focus fire a single leg until he goes down, that's when you're going to be able to do some damage to him. Okay, so he goes down after we shot his leg. Now I'm just going to blast the head right there, and he goes back to being invulnerable. Pretty good. So I'll just keep doing the same thing. We're going to keep shooting that front right leg. I guess it's front left for him. Super exciting. I know you will get more powerful weapons later that will make this a one-shot affair, as it turns out. And he's down. So now we're going to shoot his head. You can come in here. You can press your 4 and just start slicing him all up. You can even do that here. Okay, he's down once again, so just gonna slash, 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 and the boss is dead. Super, super simple, right? So shoot leg, shoot head. Easier with other people, of course, and you can also use your 4th ability and bring out your sword as the Excalibur frame if you want a super easy job. And then we're gonna extract. And when we extract, I will show you guys what rewards we get. Warframes are built of 3 particular parts, okay? Most of the time, for most of the frames in the game, Warframes are comprised of 3 parts that you're going to be farming. Neuroptics, chassis, and systems, okay? So when you first start playing the game, I'm like, okay, that's really confusing. But it really isn't. You reach the point of, okay, neuroptics, chassis, systems. That's what Warframes are built of for the most part. Get out of here, Mr. Camera. Also, if you shoot those cameras, that's how you'll get past those door alarms. That boss has I can't remember what the drop chance is for Rhino. It's fairly high, but basically there's like, let's say a 30% chance the chassis blueprint will drop, a 30% chance the systems will drop, and a 30% chance that the neuroptics will drop. So you're going to run that boss fight over and over and over again until we get blueprints for all 3 parts. So you'll see here, we got the chassis blueprint. So I want to rerun that boss fight again and again until I get the neuroptics and the systems blueprint. In fact, I may already have both of those. And that is what is necessary to build your first Warframe. So you'll be farming bosses quite a bit, and you'll get really fast at it. As time goes on, I'm going to leave the party. And hopefully I have all those blueprints to show you guys for an example. If not, I'll do my best here. Once you have all 3 blueprints, you're going to come down here to your foundry. I'm just going to start typing Rhino. I don't have all the parts for it. I'm missing neuroptics. But essentially, here's the Rhino chassis blueprint that I just got. Here's the Rhino systems blueprint that I just got. I already have Rhino, so I'm not going to build him in this video. I'm not going to waste the resources, even though he's a very cheap frame to build. But what I would do is imagine there's neuroptics right here. I would click Build the Chassis, Build the Systems, Build the Neuroptics. All of these resources, by the way, are available on the first 2 planets by just playing missions. and you likely already have them by the time you get to this boss. He's a very cheap frame to build. That's going to take 12 hours, okay? And we also need to come up here to the market, and I need to type in Rhino. Here is our Rhino Warframe. Now, once again, if you watched the last video, 400 platinum, that's ridiculous. Or you can just tab over here to the blueprint, 35,000 credits. You're going to buy the blueprint. And as you can see here, I need the neuroptics, I need the chassis, and I need the systems. So once those have finished, after 12 hours, you pick them up, it adds them to your inventory. You'll buy this blueprint, and then you will go back to the foundry and build the Rhino frame. Frames take 72 hours to build. You can rush it for platinum. I don't know really why you would, because quite frankly, that's a lot of the fun, is letting things take their time in the oven. And, you know, I don't know. If you want to spend money on it, you can. I just think there's better ways to spend money. And then you will have yourself the Rhino Warframe. Now, the Rhino Warframe is pretty cool. You're still probably going to be using Excalibur for a lot of the early game content. And this is also a great time to talk about mods while we're down here. So, modding in this game is a huge portion of where your power comes from. Excuse me. If I slide over here and I go to my upgrade tab, this is obviously where I can place all of the mods for my frame. If I go back and select, let's say where's Frost? Select my Frost and I come up here to upgrade. This is particular like builds that you're working towards with your frames later in the game. And you'll notice that the mods have little dots at the bottom of the card. That indicates that they're more powerful than just the base version of it, meaning I've upgraded these mods. Everybody gets to level 30 with their frames and their weapons, like everybody does. But where the real power gap begins is how you mod. How strong are your mods? How upgraded are the mods? Are you using the right mods? That kind of a thing. It's not really something you have to worry too terribly much about for, let's say, the first 30 to 40 hours of the game, but it becomes more important as you progress in the star chart and the enemies get more difficult. So you're going to become very familiar with the modding bench over here. The rarity of mods is indicated by their color, gold being the rare, silver is a little bit less, and then the, if I just keep scrolling, I guess what you call these, bronze? They're sort of bronze, basically. And if I want to upgrade, where's Transient? Transient Fortitude. This is a corrupted mod. I will explain corrupted mods in a further video, but don't worry about it. If I want to upgrade my Transient Fortitude, I select it, and then I'm going to come up to Fusion. And here, you can notice I'm rank 6. If I want to upgrade this further, it's going to start costing me quite a bit. So 100,000 and 2,000 endo. 5k endo and 300,000. If I want to max this thing out, it's going to cost me 30,000 endo and almost 1.5 billion credits. That's a whole lot. And I think a lot of new players get terrified when they think about upgrading their mods because, where's steel fiber? Because what if I'm not spending money? What if I'm not spending my currency on the correct mods? Well, there are some mods that you're going to be using like universally on some frames. Steel fiber is one of those mods. You're going to use this on a ton of frames. So I'm even going to upgrade it right now. Steel fiber plus 100% armor. That's rank 9. That makes it 110. So I'm going to apply fusion. And well, hold on. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to change some of the mods on my frames. Don't necessarily worry about pouring a bunch of resources into upgrading your mods right now. We will talk about upgrading mods in a further video. If you check the link in the description below, I'm going to link to the iFlynn Beginner's Guide series, which is ridiculously good, and he will walk you through what mods you want to upgrade and when. For right now, don't pour tons of resources into these mods, into upgrading them, but you should, as you progress your Warframes level, you should be upgrading the mods, like adding mods to it as you unlock more mod slots, okay? I'll show that in just a second here. When we look here at, gonna go back, do you see I have a bunch of steel fiber mods? One of these is cracked. Do you see this cracked steel fiber mod? It's noted by the weird little lines going across it. Plus 8% armor at base level. plus 10% armor at base level and has way more upgrade points than non-cracked one. Don't use upgraded or the cracked mods. Just don't use it. Not necessary. You're going to be ending up like selling these anyway. So I'm going to select all of these and then we'll go sell, and that's going to dissolve it into endo, 10 endo, something I don't need. You can also, pretty cool here, sort by duplicates. Where is it? Duplicates. So I have 45 redirections. I'm going to select 44 of them. And I'm going to dissolve those. Goodbye, 44. And I'm doing it into endo. Endo is a much harder currency to get than credits. You can sell them for credits if you really need to, but I don't necessarily recommend it. The silvers will obviously grant you a little bit more, so let's select 22. Going to dissolve that into 220 endo. Yay, there we go. Mod bench, you'll learn more about it as the game goes on. Don't let it intimidate you. And what I meant is, as you hit max rank on a frame, you will get more capacity for your mods, so you can put more mods into a particular frame. So if you keep coming back to your Warframe, hit actions, hit auto install, that's where the game's going to pick what it thinks the best combinations of mod for your frame is. As you progress further, you're going to be picking your own mods and modding your frame yourself, but for right now, the auto mod is fine, especially with how early you guys probably are within the game. If I show you the Rhino frame, which is rank 0 right now, and I go to upgrade, you'll notice I only have 7 capacity. So I really probably can only stick 1 mod into this thing. Oh, okay. It actually put a couple of mods in. I will explain polarity in a further video. Okay. I will talk about polarity in a further video. Polarity basically is a system where it allows half the cost of the mod. Normally this would cost more for this capacity, but because it's in a particular slot that matches the polarity, it's half the cost. Don't worry about that stuff. It's a further video, something not to freak out about right now. All right, what should you be doing then once you have the Rhino frame? You do want to farm Rhino. Rhino's a fun frame to have. It's super easy. You don't have to pick him up if you want to save your mod slots, your Warframe slots for other frames down the road. But really you want to be focusing on what we talked about last time, progressing your star chart. So you want to finish Venus, you want to farm the boss, and then look at your Mercury junction, complete the Mercury junction, and go to Mercury. Clear the nodes on Mercury, and then once you've finished up Mercury, you can head back to Earth. You can clear the Mars junction, which is very easy. Okay, these are all things that are just going to happen by you playing the blue nodes, and then you're going to progress to Mars. By the time you get to Mars, you likely will be close to MR2 or 3. I hope you're at MR2 by the time you get to Mars. Mastery rank is noted up here in the upper left-hand corner. We talked about it in the last video. You increase this bar by leveling up new gear and by completing those blue nodes on your map. You will earn more affinity generally by leveling up gear. So I do encourage you to come over to the market, go look at the weapons and find things that you can build that look fun to play with. Weapons that you want to try out, weapons that you want to build and level up, because that will help progress your mastery rank further. Your main goal is to get to mastery rank 4, and you want to build the Heck. The Heck is a weapon that scales ludicrously well. It's still a weapon that I'm using consistently, and I'm pretty darn far along in the star chart. And so if you can get to mastery rank 4 and build the Heck, that weapon is just an absolute monster. It one-shots things, and I'm fighting like level high 30s, I think. With the right mods, it's an absolute beast of a weapon. So that's one of the go-to things that you want to build when you have basically maxed a weapon out that you're no longer going to use. So like the Gorgon. I'm never going to use the Gorgon again. I leveled it up, and I need weapon slots. I don't want to pay more platinum for weapon slots. You have a finite amount of weapon slots if you don't want to pay for more platinum for it. So I have leveled the Gorgon completely up. I've earned my affinity from it. If I come into my equipment, I go to my inventory. I'm blind as a bat, and I find my Gorgon. I can sell it. I can sell this for 7,500 credits. I'm going to do that, and it's going to clear up a slot. I'm never going to use the Gorgon again. It was a fine leveling weapon. It got me my affinity. That's nice, but I'm just not going to use it. And if I ever am, I'll just build a new one at the foundry. I'll level it back up, that kind of a deal. So that's what you want to be doing. You want to be building weapons as you're progressing the star chart, and you want to be selling them once you've gotten them full maxed rank. If you know you're not going to use them, don't sell your Skana. Don't sell a couple of pieces of gear that you most likely will be using in the first a few like missions or planets, excuse me. Gosh, I know it can seem really intimidating. This is a whole lot to take in, especially if you're a new player, but I just want you to understand you really can't go wrong. Even if you sell something, like let's say you do sell the Skana, you can go get the blueprint and make a new one. It's not that hard. The game's pretty generous with resources in the earlier stages, so don't be freaked out. To review, the Codex is where you're going to go to learn about your quests, read about different enemies. It's got a lot of meat in there, so check it out when you get the chance. The first frame I want you farming is, of course, on Venus. Fossa is the node. Kill the Jackal a bunch of times till you have neuroptics, chassis, and systems. Build all that, buy the blueprint for the Rhino with credits on the market, and you should have your Rhino Warframe done in about 4 or 5 days if you let it cook in the foundry like you want it to. Continue raising your MR up to MR4 once you get to Mastery Rank 4. Build the Heck because, oh my gosh, the Heck is ridiculously good. And keep pressing your star chart along. Just Venus, Mercury, Mars. And then once you reach Mars, that's probably where I will pick up and maybe do a part 3 if you guys would like to see that. There was one more thing I wanted to mention. You're going to get early on a quest line, Howl of the Kubrow. The Kubrow are like space dogs, space wolves, space pets that you can build. Don't worry about building a Kubrow. Don't worry about finishing that quest early on. Kubrows require you to put credits into them. They are kind of a credit sink, and especially early in the game, you don't need it. If you really want a space dog, go for it. I'm just warning you up front, they will sap credits. It's just like a real life pet. You have to invest back into them. If you found this helpful, please let me know with a like. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer as many as possible. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'd love to hear where you're at in your Warframe journey, and that would be great. So down in the comments, just drop those. So thanks so much. Have a good day. Subscribe for more, and I will see you next time.